Yeah?
Yeah.
My number 2 then is EA Sports UFC. They have released a second or third content patch. The post-release support for this game is truly something. EA gets a bad rap a lot of the time. Some of it justified, most of it probably not. But the support for EA Sports UFC has been something else. In this pack, which is free like the other one was, you get a further 3 fighters, completely body scanned, look the real part, who are Matt Brown, Mike Pyle, and Stipe Miocic. The names which will be lost on many, but for those who follow the sport, big enough names, especially Matt Brown is on a hell of a run at the moment. And a bunch of new gameplay changes, which have really, again, made the game a hell of a lot better. The most obvious one of those is the fact that you can now catch kicks, something that was absent from the game kind of mystifyingly, because that's something that you will see happen. If someone mistimes a kick to the body, someone will catch it, be it in kickboxing or MMA, quite a common thing. And now that happens, and it does 2 things. One, it adds just an extra element to the game, which is always good anyway, for variety purposes. But also, one of the main strategies people who've been playing online have been using is spamming body kicks because it takes down the opposition's stamina quite a lot if you get caught with a few body kicks. So they spam body kicks and then take you out from there. But when they're doing that, they also deplete their own stamina, obviously, because they're throwing strikes. Now, as their stamina gets low, you can catch the kicks if you time the parry right and stitch them up. You know, they're free to be smashed in the face, tripped up, taken down. It's a really nice counter to that. It looks good, and it's just a really cool extra animation in the game, really, which it's a significant change. There are smaller changes, like one of the most irritating moves in the game was a very, very stupid sweeps in jiu-jitsu is what happens when the guy on the bottom gets the guy on top of him on his back and then becomes the guy on top himself. So in most martial arts, a sweep is kicking the guy's legs out, but in jiu-jitsu, that's what's called a sweep. A very irritating, stupid sweep, which happened all the time in EA UFC. It's called a scissor sweep. It's basically the guy on bottom with his legs around the guy on top. Shifts, so his shin is then on the guy's kind of rib cage, and uses that and his other leg to scissor him over, and then he ends up on top. This, to my knowledge, has happened all of 2 times ever in the history of the UFC. It's the first sweep you learn in your first white belt class of jiu-jitsu. It stops working against good guys very, very quickly, and it certainly doesn't work when you haven't got gi material, clothing to hold on to. But in this game, fucking John Jones, Cain Velasquez, TJ Dillashaw, people like that are getting swept with this stupid sweep all the time. That still is in the game, but it's now classed as an advanced sweep. Only certain people can do it. It takes a specific command to do it. It's made the ground game way better straight away. Smaller tweaks beyond that in terms of the timing on some of the ground stuff. You can now manually taunt, which bizarrely wasn't in the game before, but it's kind of cool. And they've tweaked the stamina so that it just represents a real fight better. It's still not a perfect game by any stretch. It still lacks in variety sometimes. The judges' decisions are still an absolute joke. I know people say it's like the real thing. Yes, but these are just clearly a coin flip. I had a match where, the numbers backed me up on how much I smashed the other guy, and somehow he won. It was ridiculous. His head was bright red on the little meter, his face was covered in blood. He'd hit me 20 times all fight in 5 rounds, and he won. It just gibberish, but never mind. Just really, really good post-game support and post-release support. You can't fault it, really. It's turned a game that I was disappointed in, but thought I had potential, into a very, very solid mixed martial arts game. It's still not perfect. I think the guys in charge are getting more of an understanding based on community feedback, because that is a fervent community of people who know that sport inside out, and they've really listened. They've definitely taken a lot of interest in the Reddit. It has its own subreddit where the developers have been. They've been replying to posts since before the game came out, and a lot of the changes, I would say, probably come from there. And they've all been for the best. And like I say, you've had now six fighters for free. What game does that? There's been no paid DLC. That you can pay for Bruce Lee and Hoist Gracie, and you have been able to do that since the game came out, but nobody else is being charged for so far. So that's pretty cool.